This is a land of big skies and hard choices. The sun climbs high over the African plains, and the light falls hot and bright on grass that bends in the wind. Dust hangs in the air. In the distance, you can hear birds calling, hooves thudding, and the low rumble of life on the move. It is beautiful out here, but it is never easy. Every day is a test of strength, speed, and nerve. And somewhere in that wide, open world, hunters and the hunted are already reading each other's every move. We are stepping into a place where even a small mistake can change everything. If you love wild places like this, say hello in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. The African plains stretch out like an open sea of gold, flat and wide under a hard blue sky. Dry grass sways in the wind, and dust hangs in the air like a thin veil. The heat shimmers over the ground, and even the shadows seem to hold still. Out here, there are no walls, no hiding places for long, and every patch of shade feels precious. This is a land of constant motion, where herds move, birds circle, and predators wait with patience. Buffalo, lions, zebras, vultures, and many more all live by the same simple rule: stay alert or pay the price. The plains may look peaceful from far away, but up close, they are full of drama.
A Nile crocodile can look still as a floating log, and that is exactly what makes it so dangerous. One minute the river seems calm, the next the water explodes. These are the old rulers of Africa's rivers, and they have been perfecting the art of waiting for a very long time. They live in lakes, rivers, and marshes, and they spend much of their day with only their eyes and nostrils showing above the surface. The Nile crocodile is built for patience, power, and surprise. It is one of the most feared hunters in the water, but it is also a careful survivor that knows how to save energy and strike at just the right moment. It may seem like the river belongs to fish and birds, but down below, something far stronger is always watching. A Nile crocodile has a body that looks almost like armor. Its back is covered in rough, bumpy scales that can seem like stone plates, and its tail is long and thick like a heavy rope made of muscle. That tail is its engine. With one hard swing, it can send the crocodile gliding through the water with almost no splash. Its eyes sit high on its head, so it can watch the world while the rest of its body stays hidden. Its jaws are broad and powerful, lined with sharp teeth made for gripping, not chewing. Once those jaws clamp down, it is very hard for prey to get away. Even a grown crocodile can look strangely lazy when it is resting on the bank, soaking up the sun like an old truck parked beside a dirt road. But do not let that fool you. Every part of its body is made for a quick burst of force when dinner comes close. Most of the time, a Nile crocodile spends its days saving energy. That is the smart way to live when you are a giant hunter that can go a long time without eating. It lies in shallow water, near muddy banks or crossing points where animals come to drink. Fish, birds, and even larger animals may pass by, and the crocodile watches all of them. It often hunts at the water's edge, where thirsty animals lower their heads and let their guard down. A zebra or wildebeest may think the river is just a place to cool off, but for a crocodile, it can be a dining room. When the chance comes, the attack is fast. The crocodile lunges, grabs, and pulls prey into the water. It is not a long chase. It is a sudden burst from stillness. And because it is so patient, it does not waste energy chasing every meal. It waits for the meal to come to it. That calm, careful style is one reason it has survived for so long. Family life for a Nile crocodile is full of hard lessons. The mother does more than lay eggs and walk away. She guards the nest, listens for trouble, and helps her young when they are ready to hatch. The babies are tiny compared with the adults, and they face danger from the very first day. Birds, fish, and larger predators may all see them as easy meals. So the mother stays close, and the young often gather near her for protection. Crocodiles do not seem tender at first glance, but they are more watchful than many people expect. They can communicate with low sounds, hisses, and body movements, especially when guarding young or defending territory. And as the babies grow, they learn the same lesson every crocodile must learn. Stay quiet, stay hidden, and strike only when the moment is right. Nile crocodiles matter more than many people realize. They help keep river life in balance by taking weak or injured animals and by shaping the way other creatures use the water. Their presence also tells us that a river is still wild enough to support a top hunter like this. In some places, they face trouble from habitat loss and people who fear them. But when rivers are protected, crocodiles can continue doing what they have done for ages. They are a reminder that still water can hold deep power and that survival often belongs to the patient. It is easy to look at a crocodile and feel only fear, but there is also wonder there. In the quiet of the river, it is a living reminder that the wild never sleeps. The landscape changes again, and suddenly the open grasslands give way to a tougher, thornier world. Here in the Somalia Acacia region, the trees stand spaced apart like old sentries, their twisted branches reaching over dry earth and scrub. The air feels hotter, and the light seems sharper too, bouncing off pale ground and dusty bushes. It is a place of shade and survival, where every patch of cover matters. You can almost hear the dry breeze moving through the thorns. Lions move through this country, along with antelope, zebra, warthogs, and all the small animals that know how to vanish the moment danger appears. From the wide open plains, we now step into a land that asks for patience, caution, and nerve. And in this tough, spiny country, one clever little hunter is right at home. In the African heat, an elephant can seem almost unreal. It moves like a walking hill, but it does so with such calm grace that you can almost forget how truly huge it is. Then it flaps those giant ears, rumbles low through the air, and the whole world seems to answer. Elephants live across many parts of the savanna, from open grasslands to shady pockets near water. They are known for their size, yes, but also for their memory, their family ties, and their steady way of moving through a land that can be cruel to smaller animals. These are the giants that shape the country around them. An elephant's body is all about power, but it is built with surprising softness too. Its skin looks thick and wrinkled, like old leather weathered by sun and dust. Those broad ears are like giant fans, helping it cool off in the heat. Its trunk is the most amazing part of all. It is part nose, part hand, part straw, and it can lift a tiny twig or haul up a heavy branch. And those tusks, when present, curve out like pale ivory spears. Even with all that bulk, an elephant can step carefully, almost gently, as if it knows the ground beneath it deserves respect. Most of the day, elephants are busy eating. A grown elephant can spend hour after hour pulling grass, snapping branches, stripping bark, and reaching for leaves high above the ground. They need a lot of food, and they travel far to find it. Water matters just as much. When they find a river or a muddy pool, they drink deeply, splash themselves, and sometimes cover their backs with wet dirt to keep the sun off. They do not rush. They move at a steady pace, usually in family groups, with older females often leading the way. They remember where water can be found, even after long, dry spells. That memory can mean life for the whole group when the land turns hard. Elephant family life is strong and close. Mothers stay with their calves, and aunts, sisters, and grandmothers help protect the little ones. The young learn by watching. They copy how the adults walk, feed, listen, and react to danger. Elephants speak to one another in ways we cannot always hear, using deep rumbles, body language, and touch. A trunk laid across a back can calm a calf. A nudge can guide a youngster in the right direction. When danger comes, the adults may form a protective ring around the babies, standing firm like a living wall. It is a powerful sight, but also a tender one. Elephants matter a great deal to the world around them. They knock down trees, open paths, spread seeds, and make room for other animals to feed and move. In that way, they help shape the land itself. When elephants thrive, the whole savanna feels their presence. And when they are threatened by drought or people, the loss is felt far beyond their own herds. There is something deeply moving about watching such a giant move with care. An elephant reminds us that real strength can be slow, patient, and gentle. There is something almost unreal about a white rhino. It looks like a giant armored tank that somehow learned to walk through the grass. Yet behind that heavy body is an animal that can move with surprising speed when it has to. White rhinos spend their lives close to the ground, listening, sniffing, and feeding their way across the open plains. White rhinos live in parts of southern and eastern Africa, where wide grasslands and scattered bushes give them room to roam. They are known for their wide mouth, built for cropping short grass, and for that famous horn, which has made them a target for hunters. From a distance, a white rhino may seem slow and steady, but every part of its life is shaped by caution. Its thick gray skin looks like old leather, folded and creased like a well-worn coat. Those broad lips are made for grazing, not tearing. They are like a living lawnmower, moving through the grass with calm purpose. A rhino's head seems built for business. It is low and heavy, with a strong neck and small eyes that do not miss much, even if the animal does not see far. And then there is the horn, the feature most people notice first. It rises from the nose like a dull spear, made of keratin, the same basic material as our hair and nails. Some rhinos carry a second, smaller horn behind it. Their bodies are huge but not sleek. They are barrel-shaped and solid, with legs that look short for the job they do. Still, those legs can carry a giant animal across open ground in a hurry. Watching one move, you get the sense that every step has weight. Every shift of the shoulders has power. White rhinos spend a lot of their day eating. They are grazers, which means grass is the main thing on the menu. They use their broad lips like a careful hand, clipping close to the ground and moving slowly from one feeding patch to the next. Early morning and late afternoon are often the best times to feed, when the heat is softer and the air feels easier to breathe. In the middle of the day, they may rest in the shade or wallow in mud. That muddy bath is more than just a nice, cool soak. It helps protect the skin from sun and insects. A rhino will also walk long distances to find water, and it can go without drinking for a while if the grass is juicy enough. Even then, it stays alert. Lions may look for a young or weak rhino calf, and humans have long posed the greatest danger because of the horn. A white rhino is not quick to waste energy. It moves with a kind of old strength, steady and patient, as if it knows that survival is often about endurance, not speed. Family life for a white rhino is usually quiet. These animals are mostly alone, except for mothers with calves or brief meetings around good grazing and water. A mother keeps her calf close for a long time, teaching it by example where to feed and how to stay safe. The bond between them is strong, and the calf follows her like a shadow. Rhinos do talk to one another, though not with many sounds we easily notice. They leave scent marks, snort, grunt, and push messages into the ground and air. Their world is full of smells and signs. When two adults meet, there may be a careful sniff, a little tension, or a quick retreat if neither wants trouble. That quiet way of life may seem simple, but it fits the wide open land. White rhinos matter because they help shape the grasslands. As they graze, they keep vegetation in check, which can help many other animals find fresh growth. They also leave paths and open patches that smaller creatures use later. But today, these giants need protection. Poaching has taken a heavy toll, and every rhino that survives is a victory worth celebrating. When you see one standing in the dust, you are looking at more than a big animal. You are looking at a survivor from a very old world. And there is a deep kind of beauty in that. The open grasslands begin to change here. The land grows rougher, quieter, and more broken up. Scattered trees stand like old sentries, their branches reaching over patches of red earth and dry grass. The shade feels welcome after the hard sun of the plains, and the air carries the smell of dust, leaves, and warm bark. Birds call from the treetops. Insects hum in the brush, and every so often you hear the soft crackle of something moving through the undergrowth. This is the Miombo woodlands, a place where animals can disappear in a blink. Lions move through these thickets. So do hyenas, jackals, storks, and many smaller creatures that know how to use cover to stay alive. From the wide open country behind us, we now step into a world of shadows and sudden surprises. In the heat of the African day, when the big hunters have moved on and the dust begins to settle, another master of survival appears overhead. It may not roar or charge, but it never wastes a meal. The white-headed vulture lives by sharp eyes, patient circling, and a hard-earned place in the great cleanup crew of the wild. You might even call it nature's final responder, arriving when the real drama's over. This bird is found across open savannas and dry woodlands, where it can spot trouble or dinner from a long way off. And once it lands, it gets right to work. The white-headed vulture is a large bird, and at a glance, it looks built for business. Its body is dark and sturdy, but its head is pale and bare, with a whitish crown and a yellowish face that stand out against the sky. That bare head is not just for looks. It helps keep the bird cleaner while feeding. Its beak is strong and hooked, made for tearing into tough skin and scraps that others leave behind. When it spreads its wings, you can see broad, dark feathers and a pale patch on the back that flashes in the sun. It is not a flashy bird in the way a parrot is flashy, but there is something striking about it all the same. It looks honest, made for one purpose and made well. Most of the time, the white-headed vulture spends its day in the air or perched high on a tree, scanning the land below. It does not waste energy if it can help it. That is part of the trick. From up high, it can watch for lions, hyenas, or jackals gathering around a kill. It can also spot the first signs of a fallen animal from far away, sometimes while other creatures are still miles off. When it finds a carcass, it joins the feast in a careful order. Bigger scavengers often arrive first, But the white-headed vulture knows how to wait its turn and use its strong bill on the scraps left behind. It feeds on what would otherwise rot in the sun. In that way, it helps keep the land cleaner and slows the spread of disease. There is nothing wasteful about it. Every bite matters. Family life for a white-headed vulture is quiet, but not simple. These birds usually live in pairs, and they often stay loyal to one mate for many years. Together, they build a large nest high in a tree, far from most ground dangers. One chick is the usual rule, and both parents help care for it. They take turns guarding the nest and bringing food. Like many wild birds, they do not speak with words, but they do communicate. A tilt of the head, a change in posture, a wing held just so. These small signals can say a great deal. Young vultures must learn patience early. They must also learn timing, because arriving too soon can mean trouble, and arriving too late can mean nothing left at all. In the bigger picture, the white-headed vulture matters more than many people realize. It is part of the wild's cleanup system, turning death into a fresh start for the land. But these birds face serious danger from poisoned carcasses, habitat loss, and the slow loss of safe nesting places. That makes every healthy pair important. When you see one circling high above the grasslands, you are seeing a bird that helps the whole system keep moving. And in a place as rough and beautiful as Africa, that kind of work is worth honoring. There is a quiet dignity in the white-headed vulture. It reminds us that survival in the wild is not always about the chase. Sometimes it is about knowing how to wait, how to watch, and how to make the most of what remains. A zebra looks like it was painted by hand. Black and white stripes run from nose to tail, and no two animals wear the same pattern. At first glance, those stripes seem almost playful, but out here, they are part of a serious survival story. Zebras live on the open grasslands where there is very little place to hide. They spend their days in the company of others, always watching, always listening, always ready to move. Zebras are built for life on the edge. They may look elegant and calm, but they are never far from danger. Let's meet one of the most familiar and eye-catching animals on the plains. Zebras live across much of eastern and southern Africa, and they often share the land with lions, hyenas, wildebeest, and gazelles. Their stripes make them easy for us to spot, but they can be much harder for a hungry predator to focus on when the herd is moving. Up close, a zebra is a sturdy animal with strong legs, a thick neck, and a narrow head. Its mane stands straight up like a short brush, and its ears can turn like little radar dishes. The coat is the first thing anyone notices. Those bold stripes are not just for show. They wrap around the body like nature's own barcode, each line crisp and clean. On a hot day, the black and white pattern seems to shimmer in the heat. A zebra is a little like a moving piece of fine art, only this artwork can run fast when it has to, and run it does. Zebras spend much of the day grazing. They use their tough teeth to clip grass close to the ground, and they can travel long distances in search of fresh feeding areas and water. They are not picky eaters, and that helps them survive in a land where food changes with the seasons. You will often find them feeding beside wildebeest or antelope, all of them making use of the same open country in different ways. Their real strength, though, is not just in what they eat, it is in how they stay alert. One zebra may be looking for danger while another keeps eating, and then the whole herd can move as one. When alarm spreads through the group, heads come up, tails flick, ears lock forward, and the zebras break into a fast bouncing run. It is a strange and beautiful sight, like a field of living stripes flowing across the grass. They can gallop hard and they can turn quickly. which gives them a fighting chance when lions come close. Family life matters a great deal to zebras. They usually live in small family groups, and those groups may join into larger herds when the land is full of animals. A strong stallion often stays close to a group of mares and foals, guarding them and guiding them through the day. Young zebras stay near their mothers, learning the paths to water and the warning signs of danger. They also recognize one another by smell, sound, and the look of their stripes. Zebras speak with snorts, barks, and calls that carry across the open plains. When trouble comes, the whole herd can react in an instant. That teamwork helps protect the young and keeps the group together. Zebras matter to the grasslands in a big way. They help keep the grass trimmed, which supports the shape of the whole landscape. And because they are common prey for lions and hyenas, they help feed the larger hunters too. In a place where every animal is part of the same hard struggle, the zebra stands right in the middle of it all. There is something deeply moving about that. A zebra's stripes may look bold and simple, but they belong to a life that is always alert, always moving, and always tied to the bigger rhythm of the plains. In the grass, there can be almost no warning at all. One moment the plain looks quiet and still. The next, a lion is moving like a shadow with teeth. That is what makes lions so gripping to watch. They look relaxed, almost sleepy at times, but they can turn into fast, focused hunters in a heartbeat. Lions live across open savannas and dry grasslands, and they are the only big cats that usually live in family groups. Their golden coats blend right into the sunburned land, which is one reason they can get so close before anyone notices. With broad heads, strong shoulders, and those dark, watchful eyes, lions seem built for the hard life of the plains. If you've ever wondered how such a powerful animal survives in such a tough place, the answer starts with teamwork, patience, and sheer strength. A lion's body is made for this life. The coat is short and thick, colored in shades of honey, tan, and dust, which helps it disappear in tall grass. A male lion is easy to recognize by his mane, that heavy ring of hair around his head and neck. It can look black, brown, or golden, and it gives him a larger, more imposing look. The mane also helps protect his neck during fights, though it must be hot to wear under the African sun. Lionesses do most of the hunting, and they are leaner, lighter, and built for speed. Their muscles ripple under the skin when they move, and their paws are wide and padded for silent steps. Even a lion's face tells a story. The nose is broad, the jaw is powerful, and the whiskers help the cat sense the world around it. Everything about a lion says one thing: this is an animal made to rule a rough country. But lions do not spend every hour charging through the grass. Much of the day is quiet. In the hottest part of the afternoon, a pride may stretch out in the shade of a thorn tree or lie low in the grass, saving energy like an old truck parked at the gas station. They rest because hunting takes power, and there may be long gaps between meals. When they are on the move, lions walk with a loose, easy stride, but they are always alert. Their eyes search for weakness. They look for a calf that has drifted away, a zebra that has lagged behind, or a buffalo that has become separated from the herd. They are careful hunters, not wild chargers. Often they stalk in near silence, ears forward, bodies low, reading every twitch in the grass. And when the time comes, they can sprint with surprising speed for a short burst. Lions also scavenge when they need to. If another hunter has made a kill, a lion may take over the meal without much hesitation. Out here, energy matters. Every bite counts. Family life is at the heart of a lion's world. A pride is usually made up of related females, their cubs, and a few males who protect the group. The lionesses often work together like a well-practiced crew. One may slip around one side of the prey while another moves in from the other side. They talk with low grunts, soft growls, and body language that helps keep the group together. Cubs stay close to their mothers and aunts. They tumble, chase, and practice pouncing on anything that moves, which looks playful but builds the skills they will need later. Male lions have a different job. They defend the pride, patrol territory, and face off with rival males when needed. A lion's roar can carry for miles across the plain. It warns strangers to stay away and helps pride members find one another in the dark. That deep sound is one of the great voices of Africa. Lions matter because they help keep the animal world in balance. By taking old, weak, or unlucky animals, they help prevent any one herd from growing too large. They also give food to scavengers, from hyenas to vultures. In that way, a lion's life reaches far beyond the hunt itself. And even with all that power, lions still depend on the health of the grasslands, the herds, and the waterholes around them. That is what makes them so special. They are not just rulers of the plain. They are part of it, tied to every dry wind and every moving shadow. Sometimes the fastest hunter on the plains is also the most delicate-looking one. A cheetah can go from stillness to a burst of speed that seems almost unreal, like a race car built by nature. But all that speed comes with a price, because it needs open ground, sharp eyes, and perfect timing. Cheetahs live mostly in the wide grasslands of East and Southern Africa, where they can spot danger from far away and use every bit of space to their advantage. They are built for short, explosive chases, not long fights. And in a land full of lions, hyenas, and other hungry neighbors, that matters. Cheetahs are the quiet sprinters of the savannah, and every hunt feels like a race against time. A cheetah is easy to recognize once you know what to look for. Its body is slim and light, almost like it was stretched out for speed. Long legs carry it low and fast over the ground. Its coat is covered in black spots, with dark lines running from the eyes down toward the mouth like tears. Those markings help the cat disappear into tall grass and may also help reduce glare from the sun. The head is small, the chest is deep, and the tail is long and steady, like a built-in steering wheel. Even standing still, a cheetah looks ready to move. It does not have the heavy build of a lion or the thick power of a leopard. Instead, it looks smooth, lean, and perfectly made for one thing: speed. Those eyes are sharp, and that flexible spine gives it a long, powerful stride when the chase begins. Most of a cheetah's day is spent watching. It scans the grass for gazelles, young wildebeest, or other small antelope, usually choosing the weakest or easiest target it can find. It hunts by sight, not by surprise from the dark, and it depends on open land where it can see clearly. First, it creeps close, using low grass and gentle slopes as cover. Then, when the moment is right, it breaks into a sprint. The chase is short, fierce, and exhausting. A cheetah can run incredibly fast, but only for a brief stretch. If the animal escapes that first rush, the hunt is often over. Afterward, the cheetah must rest and catch its breath before it can even think about trying again. And even if it makes a kill, it still has to guard its meal from bigger, stronger animals that may try to steal it. Life for a cheetah is a careful balance of energy, patience, and timing. Cheetahs are usually more solitary than many other big cats. Mothers raise the cubs alone, teaching them how to watch, stalk, and move quietly through the grass. The cubs stay with her for many months, learning by following and copying. Young cheetahs are playful, but those games are not wasted time. They help build the strength and coordination needed for survival later on. Cheetahs communicate with chirps, purrs, and soft calls, and a mother keeps close track of her young with constant attention. Brothers may stay together for a while after they grow up, while females often go off on their own. In a place where danger is always close, family means safety, learning, and a better chance to survive. Cheetahs matter because they help keep the grassland in balance. They take animals that are common and vulnerable, and that can help shape where prey gathers and how it moves. They are also a reminder that survival in the wild is not only about strength, sometimes it is about speed, focus, and making the right move at the right second. Cheetahs are under pressure from shrinking habitat and conflict with people, but protected wild places still give them a fighting chance. There is something beautiful about a hunter that depends so deeply on open space. In the cheetah, the plains seem to come alive with motion, grace, and a little bit of wonder. In the African night, few sounds are as haunting as a hyena's laugh. It can echo across the grass like a giggle, a bark, and a warning all at once. And that sound often means something important is happening nearby. Hyenas are not just scavengers waiting on the sidelines. They are smart, tough, and full of surprises. These animals live across much of sub-Saharan Africa, from open plains to rocky hills and woodlands. Spotted hyenas, the most familiar kind, have powerful jaws, sharp minds, and a social life that is more complicated than most people expect. They can work together, raise young in groups, and stay alert day and night. If you want to understand how life on the savannah really works, you have to meet the hyena. A hyena may look a little odd at first glance, with sloping shoulders, a rough coat, and a head that seems built for business rather than beauty. But there is real power in that body. Its front legs are longer than the back ones, which gives it that downhill look, like a dog with a front heavy load. The coat is usually sandy or grayish with dark spots, and each one has its own pattern. Its ears stand up like little radar dishes, always listening. Then there is that strong neck and heavy jaw, made for crushing bones and tearing through tough hides. A hyena's face can seem almost playful, but the eyes tell another story. They are sharp, watchful, and always reading the room. This animal is built for endurance, not speed alone, not brute force alone. Just the kind of body that can keep going when other animals have already given up. Hyenas spend much of their time on the move, covering long distances in search of food. And food for them can come in many forms. They will hunt when they need to, especially in groups. They can bring down animals much larger than themselves if the moment is right and the team works well together. But they also make use of leftovers from other hunters. Nothing easy is wasted out here. If a lion leaves behind a carcass, a hyena may be close behind. If a hunt goes wrong, a hyena may be the first to notice. They are patient, opportunistic, and clever. Their noses are excellent, and their hearing is even better. A hyena can pick up the scent of a meal from far away, then follow it with the confidence of something that knows the wild never throws much away. At night, they travel in clans, sometimes with only a few members, sometimes with many. They greet one another with strange squeals and whoops, a noisy family language that carries across the dark. And when there are cubs to feed, the whole group matters. Hyena mothers are devoted and protective. Cubs are born into a world where danger is real from the very start, so the den must be safe and the clan must stay alert. Young hyenas learn by watching. They learn how to follow scent, how to read a fight, and how to stay out of trouble until they are ready. In hyena society, females are the ones in charge, and that is unusual in the animal world. They are larger, stronger, and more dominant than the males. This gives the clan a clear structure, and it helps shape how the group lives and feeds. Why do hyenas matter so much? because they help clean the land. They take care of remains that might otherwise rot in the heat. They also help keep animal populations in check by hunting the weak and the vulnerable. In that way, they are part of the great balance of the plains. They may not win everyone's admiration, but the wild would be far less healthy without them. And once you understand a hyena, you start to see it differently. Not as a joke, not as a villain, but as one of the savanna's most capable survivors. The Serengeti feels endless. Wide golden grass rolls under a hot sky, broken here and there by rocky outcrops, thorn trees, and dusty roads made by hooves and paws. In the distance, a line of acacia trees shimmers in the heat, and the wind keeps the whole place moving like waves on a dry sea. Birds call from above, insects hum in the grass, and somewhere out there, life is always on the move. This is one of Africa's great wild places, home to lions, cheetahs, hyenas, zebras, wildebeest, gazelles, and many more. Every day here is a search for food, water, and safety. And just beyond these open plains, the story grows even more intense with the speed and skill of the cheetah. Even in a world full of danger, some animals have learned to make a living from what others leave behind. That might not sound glamorous, but out here, it is a smart way to survive. Vultures are the great cleanup crew of the African plains, and they are always watching. They ride the hot air above the grasslands, waiting for the day's next meal to appear. Vultures live across much of Africa, from open savanna to dry, dusty country where food can be hard to find. They have sharp eyes, bald heads, and a job that keeps the whole wild world healthier. Let's take a closer look at these remarkable birds. A vulture is built in a way that makes perfect sense once you see it up close. Its body is made for long hours in the sky, not for fancy looks. The wings are broad and wide like a glider plane, so it can soar for miles without flapping much at all. That saves energy, which is important when food may be hard to find. Many vultures have a bare head and neck, and that may look strange at first, but it helps them stay cleaner when they feed inside a carcass. Their hooked beaks are strong and sharp, made for tearing through tough skin and meat. Their feathers are usually brown, black, or gray, the colors of dust and dry earth. They do not shine like a kingfisher or flash like a parrot. They look plain at first glance, but there is something honest about that. Vultures help clean it up before that happens. They may seem quiet and patient, but their work is constant. All day long they are on the move, circling, landing, feeding, and lifting back into the sky. In a place where every meal is hard-earned, they save time and energy by following the signs left by others. There is a kind of calm efficiency in that. Life on the plains would be messier and much more dangerous without them. Vultures often gather in groups, and that can look a little comical from a distance. One bird lands, then another, then 10 more seem to appear out of nowhere. Soon the ground around a carcass is full of jostling wings and bent necks. Vultures matter because they do a hard, necessary job that keeps the plains healthier. By eating dead animals, they help stop the spread of disease and return nutrients to the land. They are part of the balance that keeps this wild place working day after day. And while their numbers face threats in some areas, there is still reason for hope. When vultures are protected, the whole landscape benefits. So the next time you see one circling high overhead, remember this: the sky is not empty. It is full of patient watchers, doing the quiet work that helps the wild world keep going. The black-backed jackal may look like a small, sly survivor with a neat coat and bright eyes, but do not let that fool you. In a land where bigger animals often steal the spotlight, this little hunter knows how to make a living by staying sharp, quick, and patient. It is one of those creatures that seems to be everywhere and nowhere at once, slipping through the grass like a whisper. Black-backed jackals live across open plains, dry scrub, and woodland edges, and they have a clever way of turning hard times into opportunity. Meet the black-backed jackal, a smart little scavenger and hunter that thrives in some of Africa's toughest country. It is built for survival, with a body that looks slim and tidy, almost like a fox dressed for a dust storm. Its back is marked by a dark saddle of black and silver fur, which stands out against its reddish sides and pale belly. That dark stripe along its back is the first thing many people notice, like a bold brush stroke across a warm coat. Its ears are tall and pointed, always listening. Its muzzle is narrow, its legs are long, and its tail is bushy enough to seem like a brush carried behind it. Everything about this animal says speed and alertness. It is not large, but it carries itself with the confidence of a creature that knows the ground well. When it moves, it does so lightly, almost as if it is stepping around trouble before trouble can even notice it. Much of a jackal's day is spent searching. It will hunt small animals, catch insects, steal eggs, and clean up scraps left behind by bigger hunters. That ability to eat many different things is what helps it survive when food is hard to find. On a hot day, it may rest in shade and watch the land carefully, then spring into action when a chance appears. A fresh carcass can bring a jackal in quickly, but it has to be careful. There may be vultures overhead, hyenas nearby, or lions that do not want company. So the jackal often works the edges, waiting for a safe opening. It is a bit like a person who knows every back road in town. It may not be the biggest player, but it always seems to know where the next meal might come from. Jackals are also skilled hunters on their own or in pairs. They can chase down small prey with quick bursts of speed, then stop and listen for the slightest rustle. They are most active at dawn and dusk, when the heat eases and the land begins to stir. Family matters a great deal to black-backed jackals. Many pairs stay together for a long time, and both parents help care for the young. They use calls to keep in touch, from sharp barks to eerie yelps that can carry over long distances. Those sounds can warn of danger, defend territory, or keep family members together when the grass is tall and the light is fading. A jackal pair often raises pups in a den hidden away in the ground, where the little ones stay safe while they grow stronger. Older siblings may even help watch and feed the pups. That teamwork gives the young a better start in a hard world. Why does this small animal matter? Because it helps keep the land clean by feeding on leftovers, and it helps control small animal populations too. In that way, the jackal quietly supports the balance of life across the plains. It may never receive the same attention as lions or elephants, but it is part of the same wild story. And if you watch long enough, you learn that the small, clever survivors can be just as important as the giants. Many people think of the African plains as a place of big cats and dust, but some of the most important drama belongs to a shaggy, hoofed wanderer. The wildebeest may not look graceful at first glance, yet it survives in a world that is always testing it. These animals travel in huge herds, and when they move, the land seems to come alive. Wildebeests live across East and Southern Africa, especially on open grasslands where they can see danger coming. They are built for a hard life, with a strong body, quick feet, and nerves that never seem to rest. Wildebeest are famous for one of the greatest journeys on Earth, and in a moment, we'll step into their world. Take a second and say hello in the comments if you're enjoying the trip. And then let's meet the animal that keeps this wild country on the move. A wildebeest has a look you don't forget. Its front end is heavy and powerful, with a deep chest and a sloping back, almost like two different animals stitched together. The face is long and serious, with a beard under the chin and curved horns that sweep outward. Its coat is dark and shaggy, while the legs look thin and quick, made for running over open ground. In the sunlight, a herd can look like a moving patchwork of gray-brown backs, all bobbing in the grass. There is nothing fancy about a wildebeest, and that is exactly the point. Every line of its body seems designed for one thing: staying alive in a place where speed and stamina matter more than beauty. Wildebeest spend most of their day eating and moving, eating and moving. They graze on fresh grass, and they are always searching for the next patch that still has life in it. They do not stay put for long, especially when the rains change the land and the food begins to shift. That is why they travel in such massive numbers. One animal cannot know everything, but a herd can keep testing the ground, following the seasons, and finding new grazing areas. They are also on alert almost constantly. Heads go up, ears turn. A herd of wildebeest can look calm one second and nervous the next. That is because the plains are full of danger, from lions to hyenas to crocodiles waiting near the water. A wildebeest day is a careful balance between feeding enough and not becoming lunch. Wildebeest are herd animals through and through. They depend on numbers, and there is safety in that crowd. One set of eyes misses a hidden lion, but 1,000 eyes are harder to fool. Mothers keep their calves close, and the young learn quickly to stay near the center of the group. When trouble comes, the herd can surge forward as one. They grunt, snort, and run, and those sounds help keep everyone moving in the same direction. During the Great Migration, thousands and thousands of wildebeest traveled together with zebra and other grazers, following rain and fresh grass across the plains. It is one of nature's biggest group journeys, and it is not done for show. It is done because life depends on it. Wildebeest matter more than many people realize. They are a major source of food for lions, hyenas, cheetahs, and crocodiles, and that helps support the whole chain of life on the plains. They also shape the grass by grazing, which keeps the land open and healthy for many other animals. Their journey is one reason the Serengeti and Masai Mara feel so alive. And even though they face constant danger, wildebeest keep going. That kind of grit is hard not to admire. There is something moving about an animal that survives by trusting the herd, the land, and the next step forward. In a world full of risk, the wildebeest keeps walking, and that steady courage is part of the wild's heartbeat. There is something almost unfair about a leopard. One moment the grass looks empty, and the next, there it is, draped across a branch like a shadow with eyes. In the African wild, this cat moves quietly through a world of noise and danger, and that alone makes it unforgettable. The leopard lives here across open plains, river edges, and rocky hills, and it has one gift that stands above the rest. It can vanish into its surroundings as if the land itself is hiding it. Leopards are built like compact athletes. They are strong, fast, and amazingly sure-footed. Their coat is a beautiful mix of golden fur and dark spots, called rosettes, and those markings are not just pretty. They break up the cat's outline, especially in tall grass and dappled shade. A leopard's body is made for climbing, crouching, and sudden bursts of speed. Its shoulders are broad, its legs powerful, and its tail is long enough to help balance it on narrow branches. Even its face seems designed for quiet work. The ears are rounded, the eyes are watchful. The whole animal looks calm, but never careless. When a leopard walks, it does so with a soft, rolling grace. No wasted motion, no drama, just confidence. And that confidence carries into the way it lives. A leopard spends much of its time alone, moving through its territory like a silent manager of the night and early morning. It hunts a wide range of animals, from small antelope and baboons to birds and even young wildebeest when the chance comes. It is not the biggest cat out here, and it does not need to be. It wins by being patient. It watches, it waits. Then in a few quick steps, it closes the distance before its prey even knows it has been found. And the leopard does not stop at making the kill. It often drags its food into a tree, high above the ground, where hyenas and lions have a harder time stealing it. That is a smart move in a land where every meal can attract a crowd. The leopard's day is shaped by caution as much as hunger. It rests in the shade during the hottest hours, then becomes more active at dawn, dusk, and through the dark hours of night. It will use a riverbank for cover, slip through thorn scrub, or melt into tall grass. Every part of the landscape can be useful if you know how to read it. That is part of what makes this cat so successful. It is flexible. It can live near busy open country or in rough, broken ground where other hunters struggle. And when food is scarce, it can go longer than many animals without eating, saving energy until the right moment appears. Family life for a leopard is private and careful. Mothers raise their cubs alone, and that is a tough job. The cubs are born blind and tiny, hidden in thick brush, rock, crevices, or some other sheltered spot. For the first weeks, they depend completely on their mother. She moves them often, keeping them safe from danger and from anything that might catch their scent. As they grow, she brings them small prey and teaches them the basics of survival: how to stalk, how to stay downwind, how to freeze when a threat appears. The cubs play a lot too, and those little wrestling matches are more than fun. They are practice for the real world. A young leopard must learn balance, timing, and restraint. One clumsy step can ruin a hunt or reveal its hiding place. And because adult leopards are mostly solitary, young ones eventually have to go out and make a life on their own. A leopard matters because it helps keep the balance of prey animals in check, especially smaller and medium-sized ones. It also cleans up weak or sick animals, which can help keep the land healthier overall. But leopards face real pressure from habitat loss, conflict with people, and shrinking wild spaces. Still, there is hope. Where large natural areas remain and people make room for wildlife, leopards can continue doing what they have done for ages. Quietly, skillfully, beautifully. And maybe that is the most striking thing about this cat. It proves that in the wild, power does not always roar. Sometimes it simply waits in the branches, patient as the evening light. The land changes here. The wide, dry grasslands give way to a ribbon of water that cuts through the plain. The Mara River is not gentle and sleepy. It runs dark and muddy, with steep banks, tangled trees, and thick patches of reeds along the edge. In the heat of the afternoon, the air shimmers above the water, and the sounds carry far. You may hear frogs, birds, and the low grumble of hippos below the surface. This river is a lifeline, but it is also a danger. Wildebeest come here in huge numbers. Zebras, buffalo, and crocodiles all share these banks. And with every crossing, the river reminds every animal that survival is never simple. When you see a Thompson's gazelle, it is easy to think, how does something so small survive out here? But that little body is built for trouble. It lives on the open plains, where danger can appear from every patch of grass, and it has made a life by being quick, alert, and hard to catch. These gazelles are one of the most familiar sights on the East African grasslands. They move like living sparks across the land, always ready to bolt. A Thompson's gazelle is not the biggest animal here, not by a long shot, but it may be one of the smartest at staying alive. Up close, it looks delicate, almost graceful enough to belong in a meadow instead of a battlefield. Yet every part of it is made for escape. Its coat is a warm tan on top with a clean white belly, and a bold black stripe runs down its side like a sharp pencil line. That simple pattern helps break up its shape in the grass. Its face is fine and alert, with dark eyes that seem to miss nothing. And those slim horns, curved back like little hooks, belong mostly to the males, ready for sparring and defense. Its legs are long and thin, but do not let that fool you. They are spring-loaded. A gazelle can leap high and dart away in a flash, making sharp turns that leave a predator guessing. Even its tail flicks like a signal flag when trouble is near. Thompson's gazelles spend most of their day grazing, picking at short grasses, and moving often so they can keep feeding where the land is freshest. They like open country because they can see danger coming. That is the whole trick. On the plains, sight is life. A tall shape in the distance, a twitch in the grass, the sudden hush of birds, and the gazelle is already on edge. They feed in groups because many eyes are better than one. While one animal lowers its head, another keeps watch. They do not waste energy. Every step matters. They travel lightly, stay alert, and live close to the ground in a world where staying still too long can be a mistake. When predators draw near, their first answer is speed. A gazelle will stamp, snort, and spring away in a zigzag, sometimes leaping into the air in a display that almost looks playful, if it were not so serious. That bouncing run can confuse a chasing lion or cheetah just long enough to save a life. Family life for Thompson's gazelles is built around small groups and constant awareness. Males often hold territories and try to win over females, and there is plenty of posturing, chasing, and horn-to-horn pushing. But even in all that rivalry, the bigger concern is safety. Mothers give birth to young hidden in grass, and the fawns stay low and quiet at first, using stillness as their best defense. Later, once they are strong enough, they learn to run with the herd and follow the adult's lead. Their calls are sharp and quick, the kind of sounds that carry fast across open ground. A warning from one gazelle can set the whole group into motion. In a place like this, that is worth more than gold. Thompson's gazelles matter because they are part of the rhythm of the plains. They help keep grasses cropped, and they feed many of the hunters that depend on this land. Without animals like these, the whole balance would shift. They are small, yes, but they are a big part of the story. And when you watch one pause in the sun, ears twitching, ready to vanish at the first sign of danger, you can feel the tension of life on the savannah in a single breath. Buffalo may look like slow, heavy grazers, but they are anything but easy prey. One wrong step from a lion, and a whole herd can turn into a wall of horns and dust. These are animals that can go from quiet feeding to full-on defense in a heartbeat. Meet the African buffalo, one of the toughest animals on the plains. It lives in large herds across grasslands and river country, and it is known for its stubborn strength and sharp temper. A buffalo does not need to look graceful to be impressive. It only needs to stand its ground. Up close, a buffalo is a powerful block of muscle wrapped in dark, shaggy hide. Its shoulders rise high and heavy, like a big old farm machine built by nature. The horns are what really catch your eye. In adults, they curve out from the head and sweep down and across in a solid bony shield. That helmet-like shape is not just for show. It is made for pushing, shoving, and fighting back. Their faces can look almost grumpy, with deep-set eyes and broad noses. A dusty buffalo in the heat of the day looks rugged and worn, like it has worked hard its whole life. But that rough look hides real toughness. These animals are built to take pressure and keep moving. Buffalo spend much of their day grazing. They walk with their heads low, tearing at coarse grass and moving from one feeding spot to another. They need a lot of food to fuel those big bodies, so they keep busy for hours. Water matters too. If there is a nearby mud hole or river, they will drink there, and often wallow to cool off and shake off biting insects. They usually travel in herds, and that is their best defense. A lone buffalo is in danger, but a herd is a different story. The adults stay alert while the younger animals remain closer to the center. If trouble comes, the group can swing around and face the threat with horns pointed out. It is a simple plan, but a smart one, and it works. Buffalo do not just live in the grasslands, they help shape them. By grazing, they keep the grass from growing too thick in one place. That helps make room for other animals and keeps the plain healthy and open. They are also an important source of food for lions and hyenas, which means buffalo sit right in the middle of the great circle of life on the savanna. And those little oxpeckers riding on their backs, they get a meal of insects and parasites, while the buffalo gets a bit of cleaning and an early warning when danger is near. That is a useful deal. So when you see a buffalo, do not think of a simple grazer. Think of a survivor, one that lives by strength, teamwork, and nerve. In a land full of danger, that is no small thing. On the open plain, one animal seems to have been built to touch the sky. A giraffe can spot danger long before most other creatures even know it is there. And with a neck that tall, it can reach food that would be out of reach for almost everyone else. Giraffes live across the African savanna, where they move with slow grace that hides just how alert they really are. Their long legs, patterned coats, and calm watchfulness make them one of the most unforgettable sights in the wild. Giraffes are the tallest land animals on Earth. A grown one can stand taller than a small room, with legs like wooden stilts and a neck that seems to go on forever. But that long body is not just for looks. It helps them feed on leaves high up in acacia trees, where the thorns keep many other animals away. Their coat is like a patchwork of gold and brown, with markings that are different on every giraffe, almost like fingerprints. Those spots help break up their shape in the dry grass and dappled shade. Up close, a giraffe looks gentle and a little awkward, but do not be fooled. Those long legs can deliver a powerful kick if a lion gets too close. Their huge eyes sit high on their heads, giving them a wide view of the land. They do not need to rush through life. A giraffe walks with a swinging, easy stride, as if it is always taking its time to think. Most of its day is spent feeding. A giraffe uses its long tongue, which can stretch out and curl around leaves like a black ribbon, to pluck tender shoots from thorny branches. It will eat for hours, moving slowly from tree to tree as it strips leaves, buds, and flowers. Water's another story. Because of their long legs and long necks, giraffes have to spread their front legs awkwardly just to reach the ground and drink. That makes them vulnerable, so they only lower their heads when they feel safe. The rest of the time, they often get most of the moisture they need from their food. They are also careful listeners and watchers. A giraffe may seem quiet, but it is always paying attention to the movement of the herd, the direction of the wind, and the shape of the grass around it. Giraffes usually live in loose groups, not tight families like some animals. They can drift in and out of small herds, and that helps them stay safer. Mothers give birth standing up, and the baby drops to the ground in a startling start to life. A newborn calf can stand within a short time, which matters a great deal out here. The calf stays close to its mother, and the mother keeps a protective eye on it while it learns the world. There is a soft side to giraffe life that people often miss. Mothers nuzzle their young. Calves stay near one another. Sometimes adults watch over the group like quiet sentries, each one taking a turn to look out across the plain. Giraffes also use body posture and low sounds to communicate, even when humans can barely notice it. In a place where lions, hyenas, and crocodiles all wait for a mistake, the giraffe plays an important part. By feeding high in the trees, it helps shape the landscape in a different way from the grazers below. It also gives warning to other animals with its height and sharp eyes. In the wild, being tall is more than a gift. It is a way of staying alive. And there is something unforgettable about seeing a giraffe stand in the heat of the day, calm and steady, with the whole horizon spread out beneath it. On the savanna grasslands, the world opens wide. The trees grow scattered and low, and the grass rolls out in gold and green all the way to the horizon. In the heat, the air shimmers. In the cool mornings, mist hangs close to the ground like a soft blanket. Crickets chirp. Birds call from lonely branches. Every breeze carries the smell of dust, sun-baked earth, and fresh grass. This is open country, where animals can see danger coming from far away, but also where there is nowhere much to hide. Lions move through these wide spaces with patience. Elephants, giraffes, zebras, and vultures all make their living here too. And just beyond the grass, another giant is waiting to step into view. The hippo looks peaceful from far away, like a gray boulder floating in the water. But get a little closer, and you can feel the power in that huge body. These animals spend their days half hidden in rivers and pools, and they are built for a life that keeps them cool, safe, and ready. Along the Mara River, that matters more than ever. Hippos are some of the most familiar animals in East Africa's waterways, and they are never truly far from the action. They live in groups, move through the water like submarines, and carry a surprising amount of strength in every step. Hippos live in the river, but they also help shape everything around it. Their wide bodies are like living tanks, covered in thick gray skin that looks smooth at a distance, but is actually tough and sensitive. Their eyes, ears, and nostrils sit high on the head, so they can stay mostly underwater and still watch the world above. That's a handy design when you spend hours wallowing in mud and shade. When a hippo opens its mouth, it can look almost comic at first. Then you see how wide that jaw really is, and the joke fades fast. Those teeth are not for chewing meat. They are for showing strength, for fighting, and for keeping rivals at a distance. A hippo's head alone can look bigger than a washing machine, and the whole animal can weigh as much as a small truck. Yet in water, all that bulk moves with surprising ease. Hippos spend much of the day in rivers and pools to escape the hot African sun. The water is their shelter, their resting place, and their meeting ground. They come out mainly at night when the air is cooler and the grass is waiting. Then they travel across the banks to graze, taking long, steady bites of short grass. It may seem strange for such a massive animal to eat grass, but that's the hippo way. They are built for bulk, not speed. They do not chase prey. They do not need to. Their size does the work. A hippo can cover a good stretch of ground each night, cropping the grass almost like a giant lawnmower. By morning, it heads back to the water before the heat builds again. And if another hippo gets too close, trouble can start in a hurry. These animals are social, but they are not always gentle with one another. A river pool can be a busy place, packed with several hippos sharing the same stretch of water. The group is usually led by a dominant male who guards a section of river and keeps order, while females and young stay within the group. Hippos communicate with grunts, snorts, and deep calls that carry over water. Those sounds may seem low and simple to us, but to a hippo, they are part warning, part greeting, part challenge. Mothers are careful with their calves, which stay close and learn early how to move through the water safely. A young hippo is vulnerable, and the river can be a dangerous place if it drifts too far from protection. That's one reason the group matters so much. Hippos may look calm, but they help hold the river world together. They are part of the daily rhythm of the Mara, opening paths through the water and bringing energy to the banks. Their droppings also feed tiny life in the river, which helps fish and other animals farther down the line. In that way, a hippo is more than just a big shape in the shallows. It is part of the river's heartbeat. There is a quiet kind of wonder in that. A giant animal that spends its days in mud and water still helps keep the wild world moving. When people first see a marabou stork, they often do a double take. It looks like a bird that wandered in from a fever dream, with a bare head, a giant bill, and long legs like a walking coat rack. But behind that odd look is one of Africa's toughest scavengers, always ready to make the most of what the wild leaves behind. You can find this bird in open country, near rivers, marshes, and even around places where lions have eaten their fill. Meet the marabou stork, a giant cleanup bird of the African world, and one of the most practical creatures on the plains. What it looks like is hard to forget. It stands tall with a heavy body, a shaggy black and white coat of feathers, and a pinkish bare head that helps it stay clean while feeding. Its huge bill is built for grabbing and tearing, not for delicate work. When it spreads its wings, the dark feathers underneath flash wide and broad, making it look even bigger than it already is. There is something almost comical about the way it moves too. It folds its neck in tight when it walks, then stretches up like a question mark when it wants to look around. It is not a flashy bird, but it has a strange kind of dignity. Marabou storks spend their days looking for an easy meal, and in the wild that often means following the action. They feed on scraps, carrion, fish, insects, and just about anything else they can swallow. After a lion kill, they may arrive with vultures, standing at a careful distance until they find their chance. They are patient birds. They will wait, watch, and then step in when the time is right. They also hunt in their own way, snapping up small animals when they can, and even catching fish in shallow water. Around human camps and dumping grounds, they are just as bold. They are not picky, and that flexibility helps them survive where other birds might struggle. Family life for marabou storks is a bit quieter than their strange looks might suggest. They often nest in loose colonies, high in trees or on cliffs, where many birds raise their young near one another. A pair will work together to build a nest and care for their chicks, bringing food back again and again. They are not known for gentle sounds, but they do communicate in their own way, using bill clatters and displays to keep in touch. Young storks grow slowly and depend on their parents for a good while. In a land where every meal matters, that steady care gives them a better start. And even though the marabou stork may seem like a gloomy bird, it plays an important role. It helps clean up the landscape by eating remains that would otherwise rot in the sun. That keeps the environment healthier for other animals. It is one of nature's plainest truths. Nothing goes to waste for long. The marabou stork may not be beautiful in the usual sense, but it is useful, tough, and perfectly suited to life on the edge of the wild. And in a world this harsh, that is its own kind of wonder.
The sun is dropping now, and the river glows like a strip of cold steel under the evening light. On the far bank, a herd of Thompson's gazelles hesitates at the water's edge. They can hear the splash of hippos, the low grunts of buffalo, and the rough call of birds settling for the night. Then one gazelle steps in, another follows. The crossing has begun. But the river is never just a river here. It is a test. It is a trap. In the tall grass along the bank, lions are already moving, not rushing, waiting. Their bodies are low and still, like shadows with eyes. One lioness slips closer to the reeds, another circles wide. They know what the herd will do. They know the weakest animal often lags behind. The gazelles enter the water fast, legs churning, heads high. The current pushes at them. The stones underfoot shift and slide. A young gazelle stumbles for just a moment, and that is all the lions need. Suddenly, the grass erupts. A lioness lunges from the bank. The gazelles scatter in every direction. Water flies, hooves strike hard. One animal veers left, then right, trying to find a path to safety. Another bounds back toward shore, only to meet another hunter cutting across the exit. The whole scene turns wild in an instant. Across the river, crocodiles begin to stir as well, their eyes just above the surface, waiting for any mistake in the chaos. The gazelles have no time to think, only run, only survive. The lions press forward with fierce timing, trying to separate one animal from the rest. The herd keeps moving, splashing through the shallows, and at last, the luckiest ones break free and reach the far bank in a blur of dust and breath. The hunters do not all win. They rarely do. But that is the truth of this place. Every crossing is a gamble, and every survivor carries the story forward just one more day. We have traveled across open plains, through river bends, dusty woodlands, and quiet patches of grass where life is always moving, always watching. We have seen how every animal here is connected. The buffalo that keeps its herd tight, the lion that waits with patient eyes, the elephant that shapes the land, the giraffe, zebra, vulture, leopard, hyena, and all the rest, each playing a part in this great wild story. It is a world of danger, yes, but also of family, memory, and hard-earned survival. And that is what makes it so deeply beautiful. In the end, these animals remind us that nature is not far away. It is a living system, full of links we can still protect. The more we care for wild places, the more chances these creatures have to keep doing what they have done for ages. If you enjoyed this journey, please like, subscribe, share this video, and leave a comment about your favorite animal from the plains. Until next time, may the wild always stay with you, just a little, in your heart.